Welcome to The Herbal Ire, your podcast on all things holistic health, medical astrology, spirituality, herbalism, and so much more. Presented by your host, Ire Atla, medical astrologist, herbalist, and naturopath. Let's dive right into today's topic, love and light. Hi everybody, welcome back to The Herbal Ire. I'm your host, Ire Atla, and today I want to cover a few different things. So let's start with something that happened this week to me that I kind of want to vent about, as well as just make some points about how you treat other people. Because seriously, it was, yeah. So this past Tuesday, I attended a networking event. It's one that I've attended before. I go to it frequently. During this event, you're matched with different people for 5 minutes each time. So it's in this time frame, you pitch your elevator pitch, you answer a few questions about what you do the same for the other person. So it's like speed dating, but for networking, for making business connections, right? I've, like I said, attended many of these. I love them. I've always enjoyed myself. I've made a few connections. Some have turned into great business connections. Others have turned into great friends. Some have turned into both. And so it's always been really enjoyable for me. So I love going. This time around, they had quite a few new people show up, which is yay, right? Lots of new people. Or in my case, boo. So one woman I met was apparently not of the same spiritual pathway or belief system as me, which is totally fine. I respect everyone's beliefs and their right to believe what they wish. So no big deal for me, but apparently she did not feel the same way and did not return that sentiment. And she was not shy about telling me. So first, she interrogated me about my name. Yes, I realize that that Ire is very rare. There we go. Trying to say Ire and rare at the same time. I realize that Ire is a very rare, obscure name, right? And let me clear up some things right now regarding my name. Because I've gotten a lot of this, and I'm just tired of it because it's just rude. Yes, it is obscure and it's uncommon. It's one of the reasons that I absolutely adore my name. It's not like you're going to meet anybody else with this name, right? I'm fucking positive there's probably not anybody else with this name in the whole world. No, my parents did not give me this name. So asking me what they were thinking when they did this will not get you the answer you're looking for. Yes, I realize that it's Scandinavian in origin, though I haven't really been able to find much beyond that. So if you have, or hell, if you just want to go investigate it for me because maybe you're better at it and that's your thing, I would love to hear what you find. If you can find an actual country of origin instead of just the Scandinavian region, which, covers a lot of countries and area. But anyways, yes, I realize that it's Scandinavian origin, and no, I am not of Scandinavian descent that I'm aware of, but it's not like I've gone and had a DNA test done, and honestly, I just don't see that happening anytime soon. But telling me that I can't have a name that's Scandinavian in origin because I'm not Scandinavian is just rude. No one region of anywhere has a lock on names. There's not we have names here in the US that where no one else can use, and other countries are the same way. I don't know, I just don't see that, any place has dibs on names. So where did this name come from? Well, my name was given to me by my spirit guides and the universe. I know why they picked this name for me, and I adore it, and I really give two shits if anyone else likes it or not, because they don't need to. I really just never resonated with the name my parents gave me. As you know, if you've been following my podcast for a while, my parents were very abusive growing up, and it never felt like me, and it was really something that they just really hastily picked after I was born, so they had a name for the birth certificate. So it never felt like they even really put any thought into it beyond, this name sounds good and it'll it'll fix the what name do you want in the birth certificate section, right? And so it's just I did not like the name. I didn't feel called to that name. I didn't feel any attachment to that name. And in fact, that name had a lot of bad memories attached to it and vibes. Let's just be honest, right? So I had really been, like not really feeling that name for a very long time. Probably like, I don't know, the majority of my life. So enter my spirit guides in the universe. I'd been thinking, I don't know, sometime last year, the year before that. So what would that be? 2021, 2022. Uh, just really thinking randomly, like here and there, that it would just be so nice to have a different name that I actually liked, that didn't associate me with a family of origin, and that felt more like me, right? And then I was meditating one day, and the universe and my spirit guides just literally dropped this name in my lap. So, Ire Atla, it was. And it was meant to be. So I looked into it more because, again, I'd never, heard this name. Ire was a Norse goddess of healing, mainly for women and children, which is kind of my specialty, women, and men on the battlefield. And then Atla was a Norse goddess of water, which all like made perfect sense for me, being a 5-planet Scorpio, which is a water sign, and a healer. So I adored it. I took it on. It's been my name since. It's been like legally changed. Like, this is my name. If y'all don't like it, I really don't care. I like it, and the universe gave it to me. So I also just, let's just throw it out there, I don't give a flying fuck what someone's name is, what they want to be called, or how weird it may be, right? This is the name that they want to be called, and that's what we're going to call them. And there's no need to be like an asshole about it. Like, if you don't like someone's name, that's okay. You don't have to. You're not required to like their name. But you're also not, you don't have to be an asshole about it either and tell them that. Well, this woman apparently never saw Bambi, because remember Bambi Thumper says, like, well, my mama says, if you can't say anything nice, you don't say nothing at all. And he was damn right about that. So this woman used our 5 minutes to ridicule my name, inform me that I was a stupid American, and then tell me that medical astrology was made up and she didn't believe it actually existed. So let's just say I like exited that chat very quickly. I was done. I am not ever going to stand around and let somebody, not only kill my vibe, but just be like a complete asshole to me. I don't care if you don't believe in any of that. I don't care about any of that, but you don't get to be rude and mean to other people about the stuff that they like, right? Like, if you can't say anything nice to someone about their name, their occupation, their life, their whatever, shut the fuck up and walk away. Leave them alone. You don't get to rain on someone else's parade because you're in a bad energy space that day, or you're just a sucky person in general. Now, I'm 100% positive that no one that listens to this podcast regularly is anybody that falls in that, sucky person category, right? I'm pretty sure that we're all good, kind, empathetic, caring beings whose vibes are really where it should be and who I would vibe with greatly in real life. That being said, we all have sucky people in our lives. I had some. I probably still do. So go tell them that instead. Right? Like, go tell them. You don't need to be a sucky person. Go away. Fuck off. So, all right. Enough sucky stuff. I just wanted to get that out because it just was such a rude thing to encounter. Like, we're there for business connections, ridiculing someone's business, their occupation, their name, where they're from. Like, look, I can't help that I was born in America any more that she could help that she was born in whatever country it was that she was from, right? Like, I also can't help the fact that, you know, this is what I've been called to do. I am following my calling. If you don't like it, I don't care. Fuck off. But there's no need to be completely rude about it. So that's all I really want to say about that, because it was just annoying. It threw off my vibe for a good part of the rest of that day. And it just didn't really need to. And I'm, yeah, I'm just washing myself of that. And I just want it to be like, yeah, don't do that to people. Don't rain on people's parades. Let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. Let them be called whatever they want to be called. And don't ridicule them for where they live. People can't help where they live sometimes. We're all born where we're born, and sometimes you don't ever get a chance to move away from there. And that's okay. So, anyway, let's get into the good stuff. The good stuff is this Saturday, June 3rd, the moon is going to move into Sagittarius, and it's going to be a full moon. So, oh snap, y'all. Sun's in Gemini, and the moon is going to be in Sagittarius. So this weekend is going to be wild, y'all. Like really wild. So we will have a sky come Saturday with the two main influential planets in our lives, right? The sun is super influential in our lives. We need it just to survive on this planet, on top of the energy that it gives us, right? It governs our life force, it's our life battery. And then the moon, which again, many people who have ovaries and uterus, their cycles are regulated by the moon, governed by the moon. You can follow the moon cycle and you can know when in the moon cycle you're going to have your period, you're going to have your ovulation, you're going to, right? Like your cycle follows that. Like we're intrinsically bonded to the moon and its energy. So these are the two main influential planets in our lives, and they're both going to be in mutable signs. The sun is going to be in a mutable air sign, and the moon is going to be in a mutable fire sign. This energy is going to be off the chain. Like, I expect some major shenanigans to happen this weekend and into next week because the influence of the new moon will extend 3 days prior and 3 days after, at least. Some people feel it longer, some people feel it shorter. It just really depends on the energies in your chart and what you have in your natal chart. But usually it's like 3 days leading up and 3 days after. So major shenanigans. So on top of that, Gemini and Sagittarius are opposite signs, right? They're the signs of polarity, which means they do help balance each other out in many ways. So that may be our saving grace here because it may help dampen some of these effects for many people. But if you have a lot of mutable energy in your chart, you're going to be more affected than those who don't. So the mutable signs are Gemini and Sagittarius, obviously, as well as Virgo and Pisces. So I would say if you have like 4 or more planets placed in one of those signs, or multiple planets in one of those signs in your chart, you're probably going to notice this energy much more this week than other people. So listen up. Let's talk about what we can do about this. So the sun is in Gemini. The sun is our life force, our life battery, if you will, and it governs how much like vitality we have. When it's in Gemini, that vitality is very scattered, right? It's a mutable air sign. It blows in many different directions, just like the air. And so one day you may notice that you feel great, another day you may not feel so great. You may have more energy one day, and another day you don't. It's mutable, right? It's all over the map. It's constantly changing, and it's very hard to feel like you're ever really super like grounded, or you got this great routine and things are going great, and then all of a sudden it's like not, right? So it's back and forth a lot. So people with the sun in Gemini, if you're listening, I'm sure you've noticed this, that like it seems like things are always constantly changing in like your health and how you're feeling and your energy levels, and that's normal for that sign, right? Because it's a mutable air sign, it likes to jump all over the place. It also, Gemini rules the lungs as well as speech and hands and arms. So I really expect to see like an uptick in lung issues this weekend and into next, which is like increase in asthma flares, bronchitis, pneumonia, etc., right? As well as communication issues in general in the collective. Because Gemini rules speech, and Gemini is a very gregarious sign. It likes to talk a lot. It likes to have in-depth conversations. Gemini really likes to get to the depth, the meat of the problem, get to the root, and talk things through. But in this sun placement, it's not the best placement for it because the sun, it has like a very drying influence. Gemini is a very drying sign already, being an air sign. So because of that, it can lead to some like dryness throughout the body, which then leads to nerves that are burned out, which then leads to insomnia, scattered speech issues, things like that, right? And so I expect to see an uptick in communication issues across the collective. So this can be miscommunication, or this can be like, hey, for once we're finally talking and we're figuring shit out and we fixed problems that have been, long-term issues that we've never been able to figure out. So it can go either way, good or bad. So the sun's a very, like I said, dynamic, hot influence in our lives. You put it in a mutable drying sign, you kind of have a recipe for disaster where things are getting dried out. Uh, which then of course can cause issues like really dry lungs will cause a lot of coughing and stuff and a lot of like breathing problems because your lungs need a moist environment. And if not overly moist, let's just put that right. Pneumonia is where you have too much moisture. So uh, but I expect to see like hot, dry coughs and, people like just struggling with their breathing because of this. And you've probably already noticed because the sun moved into Gemini like weeks ago, right? So this is an issue that we've been seeing, but it's going to be more prevalent now with this moon and sun placement. So see a lot of nervous energy and inability to sit still or concentrate with this sign. So you might find yourself jumping from one thing to another and not really able to focus long enough to get anything actually completed. And that's all that mutable energy that you're feeling, right? So place it in an air sign and that becomes even more pronounced. So self-care at this time, taking care of yourself holistically and in a way that makes your body feel better is super imperative all the time, but especially if you have a lot of mutable energy in your chart or you are a sun in Gemini in your natal chart. You're going to really need to focus on taking care of you. So self-care involves make sure that you're eating well, which means getting plenty of water in your diet, plenty of water, which means you need to be getting about 1 ounce, 1 to 2 ounces per pound of body weight. So if you weigh like 170 pounds, you need to be getting like 170 ounces at, around there. About half to 1 ounce is usually okay for most people, but if you notice that that's not doing enough, bump it up, right? So you need lots of water. You also need to make sure you're getting electrolytes with that water so that you hold on to the amount that you need and you get rid of whatever you don't. Make sure you're eating plenty of fats, good healthy fats for you. Gemini's nervous system tends to get burned out easily and becomes overactive, especially in a sun placement, and it can have an effect on your ability to think and get things done and concentrate, right? Because of that. So make sure you're getting plenty of fats because fats nourish our brain, they nourish our nervous system, they nourish our myelin sheaths that keep all of our nerves connecting and communicating in the way that they need to. Nourish your system. So make sure you're eating well. Gemini, especially in a sun placement, tends to get distracted easily and forget to eat. So set a timer if you need to so that you're eating because you need plenty of nutrition. Get outside in nature and ground yourself. With all of that mutable energy in the sky, you're going to feel really restless and like you don't know what to do and you're pulled in 16 different directions. So get back to the basics. Get back out to nature, get your bare feet on the ground, and get yourself calmed that way. Sit on the earth, breathe in the air, calm your nervous system by reconnecting to Mother Earth. Turn off your phone, your TV, your computers. Get away from the electronics this weekend. Go outside and do something fun with your family that you enjoy. Hiking, boating, biking, whatever sounds fun. Go do that. And then just remember that communication issues are going to be prevalent right now. So try not to take anything that anyone says personally. And remember to pause before responding because Gemini is a very quick sign. It likes to just listen and then spit back a response. And sometimes the things that come out of your mouth are things that maybe you should have taken some more time to think about before saying. So I'm taking this right now to heart about the don't take anything anyone says personally because I'm still, as you can hear at the beginning of this episode, pissed about the whole like name thing and being called, a stupid American. So yeah. But I am taking my own advice and I am not taking it personally. I've gotten it off my chest. I told who I needed to tell. I've done my journaling. I've meditated on it and we're going to move on, right? Her problems are her problems and that's that. Now, let's talk about the full moon energy this weekend. So, get ready for a ride. The moon governs our emotions, how we receive emotional input, and how we react emotionally to things around us, right? So, in a mutable fire sign, like Sagittarius, get ready for some potentially explosive emotions this weekend. You may notice an uptick in the collective in general, people being angry, of accidents happening, and this means like car accidents, physical accidents, boating, just accidents in general, but people being more accident prone because they're road raging and they're, getting pissed off at people and they're quick to anger instead of, you know, again, not taking everything personally and calming the fuck down when they need to. The moon governs our psyche as well as the bodies of the water, the waters of the body. There we go. And it distributes our life force from the sun. So in this fiery placement, it kind of distributes the life force in like an outward manner. So a lot of your energy tends to burn off quickly because you put too much into doing some things like at the beginning of the day and you don't save enough for like the end of the day, right? So just know that. And you may feel a little extra dry this weekend, like dry skin, dry mucous membranes, dry eyes. So dry mucous membranes are like a dry mouth. I notice your knees creaking and popping a lot more, your hips popping a lot more, your back popping a lot more. So just remember that drinking plenty of water is a must this weekend. And always, let's just be honest, everybody needs like a metric fuck ton of water, and most of us aren't getting that. So water, 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 water with electrolytes. Sagittarius governs the hips and thighs, the central nervous system, and the sciatic nerves. So I expect, and you should too, expect to see a lot of like hip or leg injuries this weekend in the collective. And this comes from Sagittarius being like the adventurer of the zodiac and wanting to just do things all the time and wanting to go and get like adrenaline hits. Um, and so because of that, and then that quick, let's just go energy without thinking sometimes, um, will get them in trouble. So I expect to see an increase in that kind of stuff. With the moon placement here, it's really prone to a lot of restlessness, insomnia, hip and thigh issues, sciatica, and an increase in sexual desires. So if you notice yourself feeling extra, wanting to get it on this weekend, this could be why, because Sagittarius in the moon placement like this really increases that, and then you put it in a full moon where it adds extra energy to it and it increases the waters of your body, making it a lot easier to get lubricated for sexual activities. You will find yourself wanting and having a lot more sex probably this weekend than you might have normally. If you have this placement in your chart, like you are a Sagittarius moon, you may really notice that your sexual appetite is very hard to curb this weekend and possibly all the way into next week sometime. So just take note of that. Due to its governance over the central nervous system, which governs the brain and like the spinal cord, it expect to see like an increase in mental health disturbances and mental health flares in the collective this weekend, more leaning toward like flights of fancy, hearing voices in your head type of, mental health disturbances over top of like depression. Potentially some uptick in anxiety just because of all the restless energy that is part of a mutable sign. So it can really lend to a lot of those issues. So making sure that you're getting lots of activity, physical movement in this weekend can really help because it helps get some of that restless energy out, and then in turn could probably help you sleep a little bit better as well because you've expended yourself, got out in the sun and nature, all that fun stuff, right? You're going to want to drink way more water than you think you would need to, especially if you're indulging that adventurous nature that's going to come and spending a lot more time outdoors. So make sure to drink plenty of water with electrolytes, especially if you're sweating a lot. You want to replace those electrolytes you're losing. I like Element. It's one of the best ones that I find. It's drinklmnt.com. You can buy some. I'm not a sponsor. They're not a sponsor of me. I just like them. So that's who I like. That's who we use. So I recommend that. Use care so not to injure yourself this weekend, especially in your leg area. Take all the proper precautions when having your adventures, and again, think before acting. Put that excess energy instead possibly into something good this weekend, right? Go volunteer, clean up some trash on the parks, the beaches, on the side of the road, help at an animal shelter. Side note, native Sagittarians, which are like sun or moon placements, absolutely tend to love animals and do a lot of work with them. So this would actually be a really great volunteer spot for many of you who have that native placement. Help your elderly neighbors mow their lawn or do some outside work that they normally, have difficulty with, whatever, but get that energy out in some way. In this placement, you also need plenty of mental and physical stimulation. So picking up a new hobby this weekend can help with that because it gets the mental stimulation, right, of learning something new, as well as the physical stimulation of trying something new. Um, and get some rest. Full moons already usually increase people's energy and then increase insomnia. And then it's an immutable fire sign, which already has issues with insomnia. So you're going to have probably some issues sleeping. So make sure you're getting plenty of morning and evening sunlight. This is between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. and the hours of 6 p.m. to sunset, wherever it is that you are living. Physical movement, make sure you're decreasing your time in front of screens. Get out in nature, y'all. Try some chamomile or some passion flower tea, or best of all, mix those two together because they are synergistic and they work best together to help you sleep. Make sure you're getting plenty of magnesium during this time. Sagittarians tend to burn through it quickly, and your nerves need a hell of a lot of magnesium daily. So, magglycinate is one of the best ones. You absorb more of it, anywhere from like 400 to 1,000 milligrams, to kind of titrate that to whatever feels good for your body. Stock up now. Go buy some today after you listen to this. Overall, just really expect to see some weird shit happen this week, an uptick in communication, hip and leg injuries, and some insomnia. This goes for the collective as well as the individual. So just remember that the more mutable energy in your chart, the more you're going to feel these effects and the more likely you are to potentially have some of those issues, as you will be more prone to it than those without as much mutable energy. And if you have a native Gemini sun or a native Sagittarian moon, then you're going to really notice a lot of what I was talking about, even more so than anybody else. So just some things to take note of this weekend. So if you don't know your chart, you're like, I don't know my chart, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's fine. If you want to know more about how your body is cosmically designed to function and when you will feel these certain influences more than others, I highly recommend you come and get a medical astrology reading with me. I will have a link in the show notes for you, but this is really like a really good in-depth look at how your body's cosmic blueprint is and how it functions, how your body functions on a cosmic level, as well as like your energy levels and your psyche and your emotions and your spiritual side and just everything, right? It's a combination of everything that makes you the unique person that you are. And it really is just, I don't know, I love them. They're amazing. They show you so much more about yourself than any other modality that you've ever tried, that I've ever used. And you definitely will never regret getting a reading done, ever. Also, in other news, if you're not already on my newsletter list, sign up at the link in the show notes because my book is dropping tomorrow, and anybody who's on my newsletter list is going to be the first people to get access to it and the exclusive access for the first few weeks that it is out. There's not going to be any other way to get it unless you sign up for the newsletter and get that link, right? So there's no way to get it without that, because I'm not posting anywhere else. I'm not posting in social media. I'm not putting it in my groups. I'm not putting anywhere else. It's going to be only through signing up for my newsletter for the first few weeks. So please go do that because it is dropping tomorrow. So if you want a copy of Your Sun Sign and Your Health by moi, then get on the newsletter list, and you will get exclusive access to that tomorrow. So I think that's everything. I hope y'all have a fantastic and weird weekend. Remember, water, 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 and electrolytes. And I will talk to you guys later. Love and light. That's it for another great episode of The Herbal Liar. Tune in next week for more valuable content with your host, Ira Atla.